The Rays were victorious in Game 1 of this three-game series, and tonight a good pitching matchup as Kevin Gausman goes for the Blue Jays, Drew Rasmussen for Tampa Bay. Let's send it upstairs to the men who will call tonight's game. There's Ben Schulman and Joe Siddall.
Jamie, as the Blue Jays try and hit against Drew Rasmussen tonight, they have one addition and one subtraction in their lineup. George Springer is back, but Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is also taking the day off.
Yeah, no panic whatsoever with Vladdy. It's just nearing the end of 13 games in a row, never easy, and he's been pressing a little bit the last handful of games, so he's out. But more importantly, George Springer is back in again after that pitch hit the broken toe of George. He's back in there, and his presence at the top of the lineup alone can help impact this lineup. It pushes Pinongo down to the 2-hole, and I don't think we can really evaluate this Blue Jays lineup this year until the band gets back together. We're hoping to see Barger soon, Alejandro Kirk later on. After that, it puts guys in positions where they're not normally in the lineup. So George back up top gives a little bit of normalcy back to this lineup, and hopefully he can impact it in any big way.
Knowing the Trop, knowing the Rays, probably going to be a lower scoring game in this one today. And the good news for the Blue Jays is they have the right guy to win one of those types of games. Kevin Gausman will make his 8th start for the Blue Jays this season when we come back, Jamie.
All right, gentlemen, fans of this team are hoping Gausman pitches a dandy, because note this, as visiting stadiums go, here's what the Blue Jays have done in the American League East parks since the pandemic, and that's not very good. Let's pose the question to the manager, John Schneider.
Oh man, I think I think if you play into that narrative, it gets you even more. You know what I mean? I love coming here because I get to spend time with my wife and kids. But they're a good team. It's not the Trop, it's not the building, it's not the turf, it's not the roof, it's not the lights, it's not anything. They're a good team. You know what I mean? So you got to play better. Is the bottom line.
And maybe hit a few more home runs with runners on base. Consider this, that the Blue Jays have 2 of them. 2 home runs with runners in scoring position. The first came off the bat of Jesus Sanchez a week ago Sunday versus Cleveland. And the second came Saturday in Minnesota, courtesy of Brandon Valenzuela. That's low. What's your theory about why they haven't hit many home runs with a number of people on base?
Well, some things in baseball are unexplainable, but yet it's baseball, and there are stats for everything. This year, the Blue Jays in early counts are seeing the most spin out of any team in baseball. They're also 26th in the Major League at hitting spin. I think it's more about what the offense is not looking for. Hitting a breaking ball in the big leagues is extremely difficult when you're sitting on a fastball. Sometimes you have to get off the fastball and sit on the breaking ball. Right now, I feel like if I was to go in a major league game right now and sit on fastball, I would have no chance of hitting a breaking ball. But if I knew the machine was throwing it, I'd have a very good shot. So I think this is more about the Blue Jays not going into an at-bat hoping to get a fastball. I think sometimes you have to look at how the pitchers are going to attack you. I think it's more about the Blue Jays internally looking at, this is what we're not doing well. Don't worry about what the pitcher has. This is how they're going to try to get you out. And sometimes when things aren't working, you have to do something different. If I'm the Blue Jays offense tonight, when I get run, we are sitting on spin. We are going to treat the spin like a fastball until we get 2 strikes. Then you can go back to the fastball, because you have to be on the fastball to be able to foul off certain pitches. But early in the count, let's sit on spin. When you get one up in the zone, don't miss it.
And if you were in that lineup tonight for the Blue Jays as a right-handed batter, note that Rasmussen this year has really dominated right-handed batters. They have gone just 3 for 35 against him. There are 4 in the Blue Jays lineup tonight. How do you think this lineup collectively should be dealing with number 57?
Well, he's got a .86 batting average. He's got a 6-pitch mix. I think this is the perfect opportunity for you to go out there and be selective. He has, at home, he's got 12 strikeouts, 1 walk. He's a guy who's going to be around the zone a ton. I don't think you have to rush into this at bat. Yes, he has really good stuff, but if you're going up there trying to cover 6 pitches, you're going to be the next victim of that .086 batting average. You got to go up there with a game plan. Do I want to attack the cutter? Do I want to attack the fastball? Do I want to sit on a breaking ball? But it's really hard when a guy has a 6-pitch mix to go up there and be on fastball and try to hit everything else.
Well, this should be fun to watch as the Blue Jays try and capture game 2 of this series. We've got the NBA postseason on Sportsnet 360. Moments from now, it's the draft lottery on Sportsnet. And then later tonight, Hockey Central straight ahead of game 2 between the Minnesota Wild and the Colorado Avalanche. There is the red-hot Yohendrick Pinyago, who will be hitting behind George Springer. Enjoy the ball game, and we'll see you throughout.
On Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
You're watching Rogers Blue Jays baseball on Sportsnet. From St. Petersburg, Florida at Tropicana Field, we welcome you to another game between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Tampa Bay Rays, second of the series here in St. Pete. John Schneider warming up the bat of George Springer as the Blue Jays look for more offense today, trying to even up this series.
Whatever it takes, Skipper, get those bats going. Let the hit it. Oh, he didn't want to touch it. See that?
A little too high.
Sometimes, yeah.
Making sure it's not going to burn George Springer before his top of the first.
The only issue is if this works.
Oh, boy. Yeah, then it's a daily thing. By the way, I'm Ben Schulman alongside Joe Siddle. Hazel May down on the field. And George Springer back atop that lineup in the 9 spot, flipping it over for him. Brandon Valenzuela has been one of the forces for the Blue Jays offensively over the last couple of weeks. They'd love if he batted in this top of the first inning, but it's going to be a tough task, especially with the Rays right-hander Drew Rasmussen on the mound.
30 years old, 6'1", 240 pounds. He's from Washington. 7th year in the big leagues. He was an all-star last season, got some Cy Young votes, 31 starts last year, an ERA of 2.76. And he's off to another good start this season, despite taking his first loss in his last start against Cleveland. Allowed just 2 earned runs. He walked 1 and struck out 6. He's got a wide variety of pitches, but a lot of the sinkers and cutters to righties, and you can imagine those 2 pitches going in different directions. Also mixes in the 4-seamer. The lefties will see the cutter 4-seam mix for the most part.
George Springer back in the Blue Jays lineup after being hit in the foot a second time when they were in Minnesota. And the pitch. And Springer hits it foul.
And that is said Springer. You'll see how, or sinker to Springer, running inside on him. We'll see a lot of that to the right-handers.
Springer last played May 2nd, was removed in his second plate appearance. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. with an off day today as Springer takes a cutter for a strike, and right away sinker then cutter.
There it is. The sinker runs in, the cutter runs away. It's almost a cutter's a cut fastball, but it's almost a little baby slider for me with the break it's got.
Rasmussen's 0-2, and it's hit back foul.
He'll mix in a slower curveball as well. Very occasional sweeper. Got the changeup. So he will mix it up, but like a lot of these Rays starters, they do incorporate a changeup. This one mostly to left-handers.
By the way, you saw that 3rd lowest ERA since 2021. Only Ohtani and DeGrom better than Rasmussen, minimum 400 innings since 2021 as he misses upstairs. Here's 1-2. Inside, and the last thing Springer needs is anything hitting him again. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Blue Jays right-handers can expect this tonight. And you see the catcher setup. They're trying to go in there, and he threw it in there, but it just continued to run in way off the plate.
Springer on the ground, and the shortstop Williamson will throw him.
Defensively behind Rasmussen for the Rays tonight, Chandler Simpson back out in left field. Cedric Mullins back in center with the lefty going last night. He was not there, nor was Jake Fraley. He's in right field. Caminero and Williamson on the left side of the infield. Richie Palacios gets the start at second base. Jonathan Aranda again at first, and Hunter Fiducia, the left-handed hitter, will face the righty Gausman.
Yohendrick Pinyango takes a first pitch high, called high by crew chief Chris Guccione, who has balls and strikes tonight. Pinyango had hit leadoff the last couple of days. Today with Springer back, he'll bat second. It's a very small sample at 7 games and 18 at-bats, but he's 9 for 18 and has a walk. He's been on base more than he's been retired so far as a big leaguer.
And see if he doesn't get maybe more of a diet of secondary pitches. Back to back.
Almost took that cutter down the right field line.
Back-to-back cutters, and you see against the left-handed batters, there's a lot more breaks straight into the left-handed batter.
Now it's 2-2 as he goes after a high fastball. Vladdy cheering on the 23-year-old left fielder Pinango. John Schneider did say Guerrero is available tonight. They'd like to give him the full day off, but if they need him, they'll use him. That's a great pitch there by Drew Rasmussen. Got him at the knees with a sinker.
Well, it's a well-located pitch, but you can see how Pinango just froze, and that's what those couple of cutters earlier in the count will do. He saw a couple of those cutters coming into him off the plate. And again, it's not necessarily something that's going to have to be on the corners, but good movement on the pitch at 96.
With Guerrero on the bench, Okamoto will hit third today, and he went around on that four-seamer. You mentioned it's going to be a lot of fastballs. If you include the cutter, it's been all but one fastball so far. He threw one curve. There's another one at 97 miles an hour, a sinker. Okamoto smashes the 1-1 to right center. Mullins back at the wall. It's gone. He's done it again. Home run number 10 on the year for Kazuma Okamoto. And the Blue Jays have their first lead of the series.
Double digits for Okamoto, and what a beautiful swing, just going with this fastball away and driving it deep into the seats there in right center. Very quiet, quick little leg kick there, but just no rush to that swing. And he's got the kind of power. He does not need to try to pull the ball. We saw him doing that a lot earlier in the season. It seemed like he had to pull the ball, but he goes the other way.
23 RBIs as well now. Andres Gimenez congratulating Okamoto in the dugout. Things have turned for him in a hurry.
Well, that's how you beat good pitching too, is maybe you run into a couple and find the seats and get a good well-pitched ball game from your starter and bullpen. Hard to string hits together against good pitching.
Second most home runs on the Blue Jays belongs to Jesus Sanchez with 4, tied with Dalton Varsho. And a swing and a miss. Big hack there on a cutter that ran in.
It's a lot of break on that cutter. It's more like, when I say it's a mini slider, at times it might have a little more downward break, but that's straight, almost horizontal into the lefty.
The 1-2. And off the plate. Drew Rasmussen had only allowed 1 earned run in 12 innings here coming into this start. Blue Jays get one in the first already. And now a miss high and outside. And already at 19 pitches in this first inning as well, as Lenyn Sosa hopes for a chance to hit.
Well, you want to work a starting pitcher. He's not a guy that necessarily goes real deep anyway, so make him work early and don't let him catch up on that pitch count.
Foul tip, strike 3. Sanchez retired, but the Blue Jays get to Rasmussen. Who else? Kazuma Okamoto leaves the yard again. His 10th home run of the season. 1-0 Blue Jays with Kevin Gausman on the hill when we return. Chandler Simpson will lead it off for the Tampa Bay Rays. The Blue Jays leading 1-0 at Tropicana Field. And the anchor of this lineup for at least the last half decade, Yandy Diaz, likes this matchup against Kevin Gausman. Few do, but he has had a lot of success against him. It'll be interesting to see how this whole Rays lineup fares today against the Blue Jays opening day starter, Kevin Gausman.
7 starts this season for Kevin. He's 2-2, ERA just over 3 now. And at Minnesota, he suffered his second loss of the season. His last start pitched into the 6th inning, but he allowed 4 runs, including 2 home runs, and they both came on 4-seam fastballs. Ryan Jeffers got him, Byron Buxton got him, and the velocity was down a bit again. We will certainly keep an eye on that throughout this start. Good velocity starting the season for his first few starts, and it's been kind of slipping in his last 3 or 4 starts.
First pitch on the ground by Simpson, 1 out.
Well, there's some good defense at shortstop behind Gausman tonight for the Blue Jays. Yohendrick Pinungo gets another start in left field against the right-handed starter. Varsho back in center after DHing yesterday. Sanchez is in right, and the home run hero, number 10 on the season, Okamoto, is at third. Jimenez at short. Ernie Clement, a little bit of a new look. The mustache is gone, and Lenin Sosa makes his 4th start at first base in a Blue Jays uniform this year. Brendan Valenzuela will call the signals for Gausman.
Junior Caminero takes a strike on a fastball. And on the Gausman velocity, he's always fluctuating, but on average his 4-seamer is its softest, quote unquote, on average since 2018. It's not soft, but slowest it's been, as that ball is just over the head of Andres Jimenez. On a 4-seamer in on the hands, Caminero flips it into left center for a base hit.
Yeah, there's a difference between pitching and changing speeds and getting to 95 or 96 when you need it. But there are also times, and we saw that in that last start, where it just never really got going. Sure, the odd pitch might do it, but for the most part, you get around to that 3rd and 4th inning, you should be seeing more 93s and 94s from Gausman.
Jonathan Aranda, the hitter for the Rays. The Rays do run a lot, but Caminero on first base probably not the biggest threat on the base paths, but this is one of their biggest threats at the plate. John Schneider said before yesterday's series opener he thought Aranda was one of the best hitters in baseball. And he lifts this ball out to right center and deep. Sanchez going back will have room to make the catch. 2 down.
That's exactly what the splitter will do. Just off speed enough from his fastball. But I also think it helps when the fastball's 94, 95. Hitters got to gear up a little bit. So you get a hitter like Aranda gearing up for that fastball, a little up front of the splitter, and get it toward the end of the bat.
That was Gausman's first splitter thrown so far. It's already faced 3 batters in 5 pitches. 2 outs with Caminero on first base.
See the setup there from Valenzuela inside, and we've seen Kevin doing that a little bit more with his fastballs. He's been more of a north-south pitcher, up and down with his fastball for the most part, what we've seen in a Blue Jays uniform over the years, but going inside on righties a bit more this year. There's another one.
94 in the first inning is typically a good sign for Kevin Gausman, who told me this is one of the ballparks a lot of pitchers feel pretty good pitching in. Goes to the slider for the first time tonight and gets Diaz to wave over top of it.
Won't see too many of those for Gaz, but he'll also use that righties just to give it a different look. So you saw the fastballs in, then you go slider away. So you're not just focusing on 2 pitches if you're a hitter, just a bit of a different look, something going the other direction.
Here's 1-2. Diaz takes the splitter. Gausman told me one thing about pitching here. The backdrop, for some reason, is comfortable. He feels like he's almost higher up because the seats are maybe a little bit lower behind home plate. He said it's a little different than a Fenway Park where it feels like the fans are more on top of you. 2-2. Pretty close right there with a 4-seam fastball. That would have been an interesting,
so close,
challenge.
Brendan Valenzuela may be thinking it's a little bit too early, but it's a big pitch for certain.
I mean, that is as borderline as borderline gets. Off on the pitch, Caminero. It's hit on the ground to second base. And that does it for the bottom of the first. Kevin Gausman pitches around a single and keeps it 1-0 Blue Jays. Back to the bats in the second.
Welcome back to the Trop. Well, last fall, Yohendrick Pinango watched the World Series on TV, imagining the day he would once again play alongside the American League champions. Now that he is a Blue Jay, the focus has shifted to staying in the majors, and lately he's giving the manager every reason to believe he should. Last night, in just his 7th big league game, Pinango notched his second 3-hit effort. His work at the plate has certainly impressed John Schneider. He loves the way Pinango is controlling the zone and the intent in which he's swinging the bat. Pinango is not afraid to swing through pitches, which allows him to cover multiple pitches. And for a young guy coming up for the first time, that's not an easy task. He's not getting cheated, Schneider told me, and he's understanding going for it is a good thing. He's been pleased with his results, telling me he's more motivated than ever been to stick around a little while longer. Guys?
It looks like he will be sticking around as Lenyn Sosa flies out to right, or at least he's making a good case. His .500 batting average, 9 for 18 in his first 7 games, is tied with Ed Sprague for the highest batting average by a Blue Jay in their first 7 games of their major league career.
Well, he's giving his manager something to think about, that is for sure. We have heard that Addison Barger could be back any day, if it's not tomorrow. Perhaps he flies back with the team and is active for Friday's game at home. It makes it a tough decision. Pinango, a left-handed bat, of course. Davis Schneider from the right side. We could see him tomorrow, potentially against a McClanahan.
In the right way, he's at least making things a little more complicated.
Absolutely. That's what you want to do as a young player. Make an impression. Make it hard on them.
Dalton Varsho shoots it over top of Caminero for a base hit.
Well, that looked like the spring training Dalton Varsho. Good flat swing on that pitch up in the zone. Shooting it the other way. See more and more pitchers go there with Dalton. Yes, they pitch him in a lot, but they'll also go up and out there, but he covers it. That's what you have to do once in a while. You cover those pitches, then you'll make him go to other zones.
Rasmussen to Ernie Clement.
New look, Ernie Clement.
Well, new / old look. He tried the mustache,
didn't like
eye
it.
black for one day, and then got rid of the mustache and the eye black. He said, we lost, so not going to keep it. Dalton Varsho off on the pitch. Clement swings and hits it foul to the right.
Well, I like it. Why not play a little hit and run? You've got a guy at the bat that makes great contact. You put the runner Varsho in motion. Maybe you get the infielders moving. Who knows? Ernie does not go the other way a whole lot, but just put him play hard somewhere.
Now he squares to bunt, and he'll bunt a good one toward third. Bare hand try. He's safe by a mile. Well, a lot of different stuff going on in that at-bat, and it winds up in an Ernie Clement bunt single. He put the bat out a little bit later. That didn't really look like a sacrifice.
It's bunt for base hit. The hit and run is a sign from the manager. That, I believe, Ernie probably did that on his own. Catching the third baseman back, and he dropped a peach. Maybe Caminero might just let that go. Maybe roll off the side of the turf into foul territory, but he thought he had a shot.
It's Clement's second bunt hit of the year. He had none all of last season.
Good little weapon for him, especially with the third baseman back.
Big rip there by Andres Gimenez.
That's the one to me that looks like a slider, right? It's got a little bit more downward tilt to it as well, and it's big, a lot of break. For me, a cutter or a cut fastball is just off your fastball, forcing fastball, with just a little horizontal cut into a lefty.
There's the four-seam fastball that actually looked like it cut a little anyway. Right over the middle, top of the zone. It's 1-2. Anthony Santander, Alejandro Kirk, and Jimmy Garcia pictured there. A lot of the Blue Jays players on the injured list right now visiting with the Blue Jays close by to Dunedin. On the ground, up the middle, it'll sneak through into center. Varsho around third. He scores into third. Clement, an RBI single for Andres Jimenez, and the Blue Jays double their advantage, 2-0.
Oh, we said you would see some changeups to the left-handed batters, and Jimenez is on this one. Just found a hole in the middle of the field to get it through and into center field.
He's had a knack for driving in runs this year, coming up with important hits. He's second on the team, Jimenez, now with 17 RBIs, only Okamoto ahead of him. He told me a couple of days ago he's always felt like a clutch player, and granted, he hit those 2 home runs in Seattle last year in the American League Championship Series. He knocked in the final run that the Blue Jays would score in Game 7 of the World Series. He said he really feels like he can stay the same in some of those big moments and not try and do anything other than what he's regularly doing at the plate. After a visit from Kyle Snyder, the pitching coach, Brandon Valenzuela. And he'll square to bunt and drag one with him. Coming to the plate, Clement the throw, and they got him. Safety squeeze, and the Rays play it well. So it's first and second and 2 down. John Schneider asking for the umpiring crew to hold up for a second.
Well, oftentimes with that situation, if you can get that bunt up the first base line, the first baseman has to come from his base. But keep an eye on Clement here. Got an okay jump, but it's just hard, and Aranda really came, or that's Aranda coming to get that ball very quickly and gets Clement at the plate.
Pretty good off-balance throw, especially for a first baseman. You're not making that many of those plays. George Springer up now, and he hits one hard to second base. Palacios retires him, and the side. Blue Jays do get another run, though, on a trio of hits, and they're up 2-0, middle of the second.
Rays tomorrow on Sportsnet.
After a crazy Game 1 where Minnesota and Colorado combined for 15 goals, you won't want to miss tonight's Game 2. Wild and Avs tonight at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Sportsnet. Colorado native Kevin Gausman back on the rubber. The Blue Jays have added a run to his cushion. They lead it 2-0 after Gausman retired 3 of 4 he faced in the first.
Put up another shutdown inning right here. They did get a single in that first inning, but Kevin ended it quickly. Anytime you put up a run or more, you want to shut down that other team. Don't give them any momentum to get back in it.
First pitch to Jake Fraley, and somehow Valenzuela held on to that. It actually got stuck. I think.
Those 2 big pads of leather where they meet. That ball jammed right in there off the bat. Brandon's looking at it like that's never happened before.
Have you had that happen?
I can't recall that, no. That would have to be just perfect. Kevin looking away there because he tried to come in with that fastball and missed on the other side of the plate.
Maybe looking to get inside because Jake Fraley's got some power. There's a fastball for a strike. Kevin Gausman ahead of ball and 2 strikes. He enters this start 6 strikeouts away from 2,000 career. And he just misses low there with a splitter. Didn't really miss, just didn't get the chase from Fraley.
It's a good spot. You get a lot of swings on that pitch right there. Fraley does a nice job laying off.
2-2. And he got him that time. First strikeout for Kevin Gausman.
Well, he had the feel for it. Maybe not quite getting the move. It comes back, and this is a much better one.
Strikeouts are brought to you by Subway. Get 25% off any footlong on game days. Order in the Subway app using the code STRIKEOUT. 1,995 strikeouts now for Kevin Gausman, who offers to Ben Williamson a slider for ball one.
Trying to get ahead with that first pitch slider, just missing off the outside.
Williamson started at second yesterday, shortstop today. And he rips this one foul, says Dave Rackley down the third baseline.
Just checking to see if everyone is agreeing with him. Nothing from the Rays dugout.
Close.
Just foul.
Not a reviewable play, by the way.
You know, as hitters, all you're waiting for is for that third base umpire to point toward the field, and you know you've got yourself a double. Now he's got to step back in against a right-hander like Gausman. No easy task.
Gausman's 2-1. In there with a fastball.
Great location out there. When you're on the edge like that, not much a hitter can do, even if you're ahead in the count looking for the fastball.
In the air, out to left field. And Piñango's got it. So Gausman gets a fly out after he struck out Jake Fraley. He's looking for 5 more to get to 2,000, but the strikeouts have been going down for him recently. He had 21 in his first 2 starts. 19 combined in his last 5. Make that 20 now with the strikeout tonight.
And the fastball is looking a little bit better already early tonight. We'll keep an eye on that. But I think with Kevin, too, when that splitter's good, it's a combination. The 2 pitches work off one another. The splitter makes the fastball better. The fastball makes the splitter better.
Cedric Mullins out to right center. And Jesus Sanchez ends the second inning. Strikeout, fly out, fly out. The Blue Jays up 2-0 after 2.
Let's bobblehead.
Carlos Favelas talking with Brandon Valenzuela before the 3rd inning. Joe, what do you think the discussion might be about here?
I think this has got to do maybe with the bunt. Perhaps maybe when Carlos Favelas being the third base coach, and whether that was a sign or whether he did it on his own. Communication going on there where exactly to bunt it. Obviously, I think the one thing he tried to do is soften that bunt a little bit so that the first baseman's got to come a little further to get that ball, and if he does, it gives the base runner a little bit more time.
Part of the learning process for Piñango, his 8th major league game, Valenzuela his 19th, and both of those guys have become quite important right now to the Blue Jays. Piñango on the ground, Palacios gets him.
Good changeup there from Rasmussen, and that's what we said with these young hitters. They'll be challenged with the secondary pitches. Drew Butera now, this has to be more about defense and what he's doing behind the plate, I'm guessing, with Gausman. Could be about his setup, the way he sets up for particular pitches, locations. This is what's good, to have this ongoing conversation in between innings when you're in the dugout.
One out to Cosmo Okamoto. He homered back in the first inning to give the Blue Jays the lead, and he is becoming quite popular with the Blue Jays fans very quickly. He was already popular when he signed, but even more so now.
Great pitch, great take. That's not something you want to offer at, despite now being behind 1-2. Pitcher executed his pitch perfectly.
And he struck him out. It's a pretty good pitch again. Sinker just in off the plate.
Well, that's what he can do. He's got the cutter away, sinker in, and those are just two tough things to cover. Both sides of the plate, balls going different directions. Really good at 96 under his hands.
If not for some health issues in the early 2020s, probably an even more known household name than he already is, Drew Rasmussen. Last season, through 150 innings to an ERA below 3, was the opening day starter for the Rays this year. He's really good. Sanchez with a healthy hack. You had talked about it on this trip, Joe, maybe seeing some bigger swings from Jesus Sanchez. That was pretty good, Rep.
That's what you'd like to see. I think bigger swings from him just because of the potential. That's just a great pitch, that cutter down underneath.
And a swing and a miss, strike 3, 4 strikeouts for Drew Rasmussen, who just authored his first scoreless frame. Middle of the third, and the Blue Jays leading it 2-0.
To elevate your meals.
Kevin Gausman chasing 2,000 strikeouts career tonight. Let's take you back to his first couple at Rogers Center in his major league debut. Edwin Encarnacion, his first ever strikeout. Then he ends the inning getting Adam Lind as well. Blue Jays would go on to win that game, so don't worry. But Kevin Gausman getting his first couple of strikeouts and foreshadowing a little bit as he was pitching at Rogers Center. And this is a list you want to be a part of. Kevin Gausman 5 strikeouts away from joining Verlander, Scherzer, Sale, Cole, and Darvish, active pitchers with 2,000 strikeouts.
Quite the list there of sending guys back to the dugout. And the interesting thing for me about Gausman is he's really reinvented himself throughout the course of his career. He didn't become a real strikeout pitcher until about his 5th, 6th year into his career. That guy knows what it's like to send hitters back to the dugout. And for Kevin, it's been down a little bit these last few years. A little different than what we saw from him in his first couple of years with the Blue Jays.
By the way, on that day, he also struck out Emilio Bonifacio and Brett Lauren.
Some familiar names.
His first pitch to Hunter Fiducia misses outside. Fiducia rotates in at catcher with Nick Fortes, picked up from the Dodgers last year. And Brandon Valenzuela wants to check on that pitch. That was close. This closer look is brought to you by Specsavers. You can see the frustration from Valenzuela. That's almost as close as it gets. 2/3 of an inch. Well, pardon me, 2/10 of an inch.
This is where the conversations are going to have to continue to be had. You can't lose a challenge to the number 8 hitter in the 3rd inning. We talk about how some are much more important than others. And it's so true. You have to understand what's at stake. And I think with Fiducia here at the plate early in the game, you don't want to take that one challenge away from your team. You really have to be certain. You can tell by the reaction by Valenzuela, immediately probably thinking, I knew I shouldn't have. But that's experience. He's young, he's new at this, and he's going to have to keep learning.
The 3-1. Hit foul.
I can promise you he's probably not going to be challenging one for several innings now.
Yeah, I would be surprised.
Can't, yeah.
Unless it's an obvious one.
Yeah.
Really obvious.
But you really just box yourself out.
Sorry, because that is the count that you often want to challenge it. Instead of 2-0, make it 1-1, or instead of 1-1, make it 0-2. But like you said, bases empty, bottom of the order, you're up too early. Fiducia battling here. He just got to 95 from Kevin Gausman. Still 3-2.
And the inning matters. It's not that you can't challenge early in the game, but it'd be different if there were a couple runners on and Camanero's at the plate.
Right.
That changes everything.
Scherzer and Heineman going over the pitches right now. As this one is hit very high to shallow left. Jimenez is calling for it. He'll wave off Pinango and make the catch. Usually the left fielder would come in and call off the shortstop, but the guy with seniority by far is Andres Jimenez.
Seniority and a lot more experience, and he could have been just helping his young left fielder. We talked about the new roof here at the Trop after all of the renovations, but this is just great to see. It's like a center fielder in the outfield. He is the quarterback. He's in charge. Call people off, and he had it all the way. Talked yesterday a little bit about the roof being a little lighter now, and it's not so much the roof as the catwalks that is where the ball can get caught. It's more of the gray areas of the catwalks that players will lose it momentarily.
Yeah, both Dalton Varsho and Mark Budzinski, Blue Jays outfield coach, said that they thought the sightlines were better with the brighter roof. Richie Palacios with a flare and another play for Andres Jimenez. Because it was darker before, you'd lose it up there, not only in the catwalks, but it was just sometimes hard to see the ball. Now you'll still lose it in the catwalks, but the rest of it, there's better sight lines to the ball. And as we had mentioned last night, if you weren't with us, there's lots of rules pertaining to all of those catwalks. Once a ball hits one of them, we'll let you know.
Think we can go 3 games without one hitting?
That would be fantastic.
Calls the ball. Toronto's challenging.
Brandon Valenzuela is going to challenge for the second time this inning, although that one seemed a little bit more obvious. And I think that's the case where, yes, you've lost a challenge, but if the whole baseball's in the zone, you may as well. John Schneider and Chris Guccione. Little bit of back and forth early on in this game.
Well, this is where, as a manager from the Blue Jays side, they're just unhappy that they even have to challenge that, because now their catcher is in a bind. They only have one challenge left. I think what John Schneider is saying is, call a strike a strike. That was not a difficult one. Because if you don't call it a strike, now you're forcing my young catcher, who's already been wrong once, who probably doesn't really want to challenge anymore. Now you might lose the pitch because of it. Right. What he's saying is to the umpire, you be better.
And Chris Guccione said, I respectfully disagree with your opinion about that. The 0-2. Swatted away by Simpson.
Yeah, I thought I heard him say, I hope you're having a nice time in Florida. Maybe not.
Kevin Gausman having a good time so far in St. Petersburg. His 0-2 is on the ground. Dive by Jimenez, blocks it, but too much speed for Chandler Simpson. Even if he gloves it cleanly there, I'm not sure he gets one of the fastest guys in the game.
No, as soon as that ball is hit, it's a base hit. But what a great play by Jimenez to get to this ball, get to his feet, and even make it a play. But that's a lot of speed on first base and a lot of power at the plate. But with 2 outs, keep an eye on this guy.
Simpson with 11 stolen bases this year. He has been caught a major league high 4 times. And also arguably the most dangerous Rays bat at the plate in Junior Caminero.
Good long hold right there by Kevin. And that's where you can freeze the run a little bit. And then by the time he spun and threw to first, you could see that Simpson was thinking about it.
Rays, one of the best stolen base teams in baseball. Although they did not steal a base yesterday, they were caught in their only attempt. Simpson thought about it. Not sure if he didn't like the jump.
So that pitch, the clock was getting much lower. Kevin had all kinds of time the first pitch. That's why he waited so long. But that's why the clock is important. You want to come set with lots of time in the clock. And again, now Kevin's already at 6 and 5. He doesn't have a whole lot of time to hold the ball.
And he'll use his second disengagement. So now if he steps off again, he has to successfully pick off Simpson, or he'll give him second base for free. Typically, this is going to allow Simpson now to stretch his lead out even further. Slider offered to Caminero, and Valenzuela is going to challenge again. That one was close. And it's called low.
Call confirmed. Toronto has no remaining challenges.
Could have fooled me, but that is by the ABS low of the zone, and the Blue Jays will lose both their challenges here in this third inning.
I think John Schneider is speechless. He's going to have to chat with his catcher again. Caminero at the plate. You get all this. It's really important, but you can't lose your challenges in the third inning.
There goes Simpson, and the pitch is low ball 3. Does it take any of the sting out of it, as Simpson gets his 12th of the year, that pitch was less than a 1/10 of an inch out of the zone?
It does, but it's the rule. If it's a ball and you challenge and you're wrong, and you lose your challenge. They have no challenges now the rest of the game. That's critical if you get into the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th inning and there's anything close. And I'm guessing there'll be plenty of them.
And a walk to Caminero on 4 pitches. Couple of quick outs this inning, but now the Rays with some traffic, and they have the right guy up, the American League leader in RBIs, Jonathan Aranda.
Well, part of that free pass can probably be attributed to Chandler Simpson causing havoc on first base and then eventually stealing the base. That walk might not be a bad thing. Kevin can just clear the slate right now and just go after this hitter one-on-one. Make one pitch to try to get out of this inning. All focus now is on the hitter.
First and second and 2 down. Jonathan Aranda up. And Kevin Gausman misses low with a splitter. Aranda, who played for Team Mexico alongside Alejandro Kirk the past couple WBCs, takes a strike. That might have been a challengeable pitch on the other side. And all of a sudden, this is kind of a big spot now.
Absolutely. May have gotten a break there, though.
The 1-1. Inside, 2 balls, 1 strike. Back in the zone with that fastball, but probably not a location you want to go to Aranda.
A good fastball, though, from Gausman. You can see him maybe cranking it up a little bit here when he needs it.
And that last one, 96 miles an hour. And it's 2-2. One up top with 96 again. Full count.
When I talked to Kevin about his velocity, he was talking about intent. He really has to remind himself to get into it, really get after it. He can't lay back and just think it's automatically going to be 94 to 96. So we'll see that intent in this at bat right here.
'96, a 3rd time in a row for Kevin Gausman. Already has thrown more pitches at 96 miles an hour in this start than he did in all of his last start. Both the runners will be off on the pitch. Simpson on second and Caminero on first. And it's hit through the middle into center. Simpson in to score. And around to third goes Junior Caminero on an American League leading 29th RBI of the year for Jonathan Aranda.
What a tough at bat by Aranda, and that's why he is an RBI machine. Continues to foul a couple pitches off, stay alive, and bought himself a pitch that he got in the middle of the plate.
As Aranda talks with Corey Dickerson, former Blue Jay and the first base coach for the Rays. Pete Walker is talking with Kevin Gausman. 2 outs and the bases empty in this inning before Chandler Simpson had an infield hit up the middle, and the Rays have turned that into a rally.
Some tough at-bats at the top of this Rays lineup. That speed of Simpson really sets the table, and it can throw the pitcher off, it can throw your game calling off, it can really be distracting, and Simpson did that. I think it contributed to the free pass to Caminero, and now a tough at-bat by Aranda, cashing in yet another RBI.
The pitch to Yandy Diaz. Just slow. Or at least it was, according to Chris Guccione. Blue Jays cannot challenge that pitch that appeared to catch the bottom edge. Well, I think John Schneider and Guccione might chat about their weekend plans again at some point.
Well, somebody
maybe right now.
Yeah, one of these guys is probably not going to last long in this baseball game because they have no challenges left, and they are barking from that Blue Jays dugout.
2-0 pitch. Fall behind 3-0. Second base is open. Are you going to challenge Yandy Diaz here, Joe, or do you just give him the free base?
I'd probably take my chances with Jake Fraley on deck. It is still an open base, even though it's second right now. You don't want this guy to hurt you.
.3-0. Back in the zone with a strike. And they keep going after him. Kevin Gausman maintaining that 96 as he went in on Yandy Diaz.
Clearly feels that he can beat him with his fastball. I think he thought that with Aranda too, and Aranda made him pay.
Gausman's payoff. Broke his bat. And Andres Gimenez will finish off this inning. With a 2-out rally, the Rays do get a run, but it's still a Blue Jay lead, 2-1 after 3.
By Ryobi, where will you be?
After a massive Game 7 win over Tampa on Sunday, it's now on to Buffalo for the Montreal Canadiens. Habs and Sabres, Game 1 tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific on Sportsnet. As the Montreal Canadiens continue on in their pursuit of a Stanley Cup, building blocks for the future being laid for the Toronto Maple Leafs, as well as they were just awarded the first overall pick in the NHL Draft Lottery on Sportsnet. Lenyn Sosa leading off for the Blue Jays. Dalton Varsho and Ernie Clement to hit behind him. Sosa at first today. We've seen him doing a lot of extra pregame work. First is a position he had played before coming to the Blue Jays, but not his main position.
Yeah, played 35 games, started 35 games last year with the White Sox at first base. So familiar. We'll see now if Rasmussen doesn't try to get him to chase. We know he's a free swinging hitter.
Coming into this game, chases at about 52% of pitches outside of the zone. Doesn't swing and miss all that much.
Right.
That's the fascinating thing about Sosa. His contact skills supersede some of the chase. It's a unique profile for David Popkins to work with in terms of his work with the hitters. And there's a pitch that he gets to that not many can, especially at 97 miles an hour.
Very good example of it right there. 97 way up top. That's a swing and miss with a lot of hitters.
One, two again. And he takes high. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Sosa with the most plate appearances in baseball without a walk yet at 78. And he lifts this ball out to center. Going back, Mullins still going back, and he'll make the catch. There have been many iconic home runs throughout 50 seasons of this franchise, and now is your chance to have 5 of them on one t-shirt. Next Monday, the first 15,000 fans will receive a Blue Jays legendary home run t-shirt presented by Ryobi. Learn more at bluejays.com/tickets. 4 home runs this year for Dalton Varsho. And he'll take inside. Up and down start to the year offensively. Does have 3 extra base hits, Varsho, in his last 5 games.
You see that little cutter out over now. That's the danger zone with Dalton. If you get it down and in there, he tends to swing over it a lot. But if you leave it up just a bit, that's the ball that can end up in the seats. He is so dangerous in that regard.
Thought about that changeup, decided to lay off.
That's what those balls inside will do. They'll speed you up a little bit.
The 2-1. And it's popped up. Fiducia tracking it. And with his mask in hand, will make the grab. Very close to that happy zone for Varsho. He's just under it.
The second baseman,
Ernie Clement bunted himself on in the second inning. Back up again here, trying to start a 2-out rally. And he smokes it out to left center field. Turning back, Chandler Simpson on the run, reaches out and makes the catch. A beautiful running catch from the Rays left fielder. He uses his speed on offense and defense, going all the way back to the wall there to make it a 1-2-3 inning for Rasmussen and keep it 2-1 Blue.
Welcome back. Jose Barrios met with manager John Schneider and pitcher coach Pete Walker earlier today, and it was determined that Barrios was going to get an MRI on his right elbow around game time. In talking to Barrios, the group agreed that the last couple of rehab starts is not where they want the veteran right-hander to be. An initial read should come later tonight or early tomorrow morning, and then they'll formulate a plan on next steps. Barrios, as you guys know, has been working his way back from a stress fracture in his right elbow. For the time being, Eric Lauer, Ben, remains in the starting rotation. Guys?
Certainly not the news you want to hear about Jose Barrios. Joe, hopefully it's a clean MRI, but a little bit more soreness than usual. And you did see, like Hazel had mentioned, some of the stuff tail off a little bit in terms of velocity for Barrios as well.
Not good news at all for Jose Barrios and the Blue Jays. That's not encouraging, and that's exactly, I asked John Schneider that question. Does that mean Eric Lauer fills that spot? And I think for now, the answer is yes, and we'll just see how that continues to go. But if the response was that the results aren't good, but he feels fine and everything, you just move forward and try to pitch better, get better, that's one thing. But in time there's still soreness and we're going for MRIs, not ideal.
Fraley with a flare and a base hit.
But Eric Lauer took advantage last night. He gave up 3 runs early and tried to keep his team in the ball game, and that's all he can do. Pitched into the 5th inning. That's what you're looking for your 5th starter, and he's going to continue to get that opportunity to try to keep getting better and solidify that spot.
He would line up for his next outing being in the Angels series when the Blue Jays go back home.
And I don't think they would use the off day to bring Gausman back Tuesday to Sunday.
Off on the first pitch is Fraley, but it's hit foul by Williamson. Yeah, specifically Sunday the 10th is Lauer's next time that he is scheduled to go. Max Scherzer has started playing catch, by the way. John Schneider told us that yesterday, but that's still a couple of steps away from returning to a Blue Jay rotation.
Shane Bieber is in town. He was throwing a side session tomorrow, I believe we heard.
Here at Tropicana Field.
But still not facing hitters yet.
Yeah, it's closer than someone playing catch right now. But again, you're a couple steps away from joining a major league rotation. Oh, 0-2, Fraley goes again, and the pitch fouled off again. I think Fraley's just begging to have a shot there, to not have to keep running back and forth. He's got to be pretty tired at this point. He's stole second base twice.
Well, Kevin did not do a great job holding runners last year, and not a lot of chances so far this season, but this type of team will take advantage of his delivery to the plate. That's why you're seeing him try to do everything he can to change up his holds and try to be a little quicker to the plate.
And because he taps that foot for rhythm, that lessens the amount of time for him to vary stuff up. Once he finishes his final tap, he's got all of that time to decide when to go. But this is a couple seconds of the clock that he can't vary it up. Little abbreviated step, but that pitch is hit into center. And now the first two have come up with base hits for the Rays as Williamson is on with a 2-strike knock.
Squared that one up, right back up the middle. Down, but still in the middle of the zone. He's able to get to it and stay on it just toward the end of his bat. And maybe we'll see what a bunt defense looks like here with Mullins at the plate to see if he might square. See Okamoto at third's already coming in. Sosa at first, expecting it as well.
Mullins is struggling a bit for offense to start the year. And he'll square pretty late, and now a throwback to second, and it pops out of the glove of Jimenez. Don't know if they would have had him anyway, but Jimenez trying to go across from the first base side of the bag to the third base side of the bag, had it squirted out of his glove.
The throw was on the second base side of the bag. If it's on the other side, he's probably out. Good idea, but as a catcher, you're looking for that. Anytime a batter bunts through a ball, the runners generally get a good secondary, and they can get caught out there. Valenzuela thought he had him.
It was quite a late square there, if that's a sacrifice from Mullins. It didn't look like a sacrifice. Maybe it's a tweener.
Guys like that can usually handle the bat okay, so they might do it a little late, but that was not a good effort by Mullins.
He bunted through it, so it's 0-1.
This is the regular bunt play where you want to just get an out.
Now a bunt toward third. Gausman going after it, bobbles, and everyone's safe. They sent Okamoto back to third base and Gausman after the baseball. And now the bases are loaded with nobody out for the Rays.
And this is why I said getting out. The most important thing on a sacrifice bunt play is to get an out. They had the regular play on, which means Jimenez is staying at second. Clement's going to go cover first. You feel if it goes to third, Okamoto comes to get it. So because the pitcher's fielding it, I think Kevin might have been thinking third base initially, and he misplayed the baseball. And I say it's so important to get an out because when you don't get an out, this is the mess you're left with. Bases loaded, nobody out.
That was scored a hit for Cedric Mullins.
What is not considered a hit anymore?
Yeah, it's been a charitable series. Bases loaded, nobody out. Bit of a pickle here for Gausman. He did pop up Fiducia into shallow left last inning.
Just one strikeout tonight, but he could certainly use one here.
The second time through the order, Gausman's gotten into a bit of trouble. 6 of the last 7 Rays have reached. Tried to go up with a fastball and ended up closer to the bottom of the zone, but it works out. It's 0-2.
This is a guy that you can't strike out, so maybe they try to bury a few splitters down there till they get him. Valenzuela very aware now, blocking that splitter in the dirt.
0-2. And he blocks the first splitter in the dirt. 1 ball, 2 strikes. "41 strikeouts this year for Gausman, but over half of them came in his first 2 starts. Is 1-2. Almost got Fiducia off.
Wow. Lead off.
And it's on the ground to second. And then it is for one over to Sosa. But a run will come in to score. Double play. Jake Fraley in to score, and it's 2-2 at the Trop.
Well, you have to almost exchange a run for a couple of hits right there. Hit right at Clement to turn it. This is the type of inning where you're just trying to avoid that big inning and control the damage a little bit. If he can get out of here with just the one, it's kind of mission accomplished.
From bases loaded, nobody out, to 2 outs and a runner on third. Kevin Gausman will try and keep it tight against Richie Palacios, younger brother of former Blue Jay Joshua Palacios. For Gausman, we've talked a little bit about the velocity, but is there anything beyond that that you think is driving the swing and miss down a little bit?
Could just be the movement on that splitter, but I think he needs the velocity to make the splitter that much more effective, and then you can get swings and misses on both.
There's a swing and a miss right on cue, 1-2.
If the velocity is down, then hitters don't have to be as aware as the big velo, so they can sit back and see the ball a little bit longer, maybe lay off some of those splitters. But when you're rushing to get to 95, 96, that's when you're very susceptible to the splitter down.
And worth noting, today his velocity is up on average, but has not picked up a whole bunch of strikeouts. 1 strikeout so far. Here's 1-2. He's cut on and missed. 2 Ks for Kevin Gausman, who, after having the bases loaded with nobody out, limits the damage to 1. And it's a new ball game through 4 innings.
Partner of the NHL.
Get ready to celebrate 2 icons of franchise history. On Friday, May 22nd, the first 15,000 fans will receive a Bautista and Encarnacion home run flex bobblehead. Get tickets now at bluejays.com/promotions. Drew Rasmussen has been really strong in this start, strong all year, but he's not a guy who necessarily goes very deep into games. He has dealt with a lot of injuries, and as he enters this 5th right now, this is often his last inning of a ball game when he makes a start.
Keep going after him. They made him throw a lot of pitches early on that first inning, but he's been able to be a little bit more efficient the last 3.
Maybe because he's retired 7 in a row, he'll get a longer leash. 2-2 game. And he misses high to Andres Jimenez as we start the 5th. Andres Jimenez drove in the most recent Blue Jays run on a single up the middle in the 2nd. This is his first time up since. Check swing, and he did not go, says Dave Rackley. The 2-1. It's another good cutter. That pitch just takes a left turn halfway to the plate.
A lot of break, and it's that horizontal run is running into the hitter. That one didn't look like it had a whole lot of depth to it. Which was more of like a sweeper, but it's hard.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Usually you think of more swing and miss on the vertical moving pitches, but that one moves so much. 2-2. And Jimenez drops one down in center. 2 hits for Andres Jimenez tonight after being 2 for 19 in his last 5 games.
There's another one of those cutters, and it was down and in, and he just golfed it out of there. That little 2-strike approach with his stride foot, just getting up on those toes. Short to the ball.
It's Blue Jays' first hit on a cutter tonight as Valenzuela takes a strike. Nobody out in the top of the 5th with Andres Jimenez on first base. And the pitch to Valenzuela. Jimenez takes off. The pitch is a ball, and the throw is not in time. Andres Jimenez with his 5th of the season. And we'll see if Kevin Cash and the Rays want to take a look at it.
Good jump by Jimenez, and the Blue Jays taking advantage of Rasmussen on the mound. Not a guy that controls the running game very well. Can be a little slow to the plate. You get a good jump. That's 90 feet. And I think the Blue Jays are going to continue to try to do this a little bit more. Get guys like Barger back and guys that can run a little bit and take some shots.
There's a couple big advantages. Part of it, when you're a team that puts the ball in play a lot with runners on first, you're in danger of ground ball double plays a lot. Once you get a guy to second, now with no outs right now, Valenzuela rolls over to second base. That's productive. He moves the runner to third rather than hitting into a double play.
It's also a good sign that Andres Jimenez feels pretty good with his bottom half, because we've talked a lot about his leg issues last year and coming into this year as well.
2-2 count. And the pitch. Inside, ball 3. Still nobody out with a runner on second. And a tie score, top of the 5th.
Well, Brandon trying to hit that ball to the right side. Of course, he'd love for a ball to go through the right side. But the least you want to happen at the end of your at-bat is for Jimenez to be on third base.
Try to set the table for George Springer coming up next. And this one is hit back foul. Brandon Valenzuela has faced 7 pitches from Drew Rasmussen, whose pitch count is still in a good spot, but if they are going to get rid of him earlier in the game, you want at bats like this.
He's trying to get back in there with that fastball, and Brandon got it out of there, just getting a piece of it. George is saying, get him to third for me.
Another 3-2 pitch and another foul ball. That was the 9th pitch. They'll go to 10. Chris Guccione's run out of baseballs.
Valenzuela lately has been really reducing that movement with his front leg, that stride foot. He's just tucking his toe and trying to give himself a little bit more time to be a little quieter in his stance and his move to the ball. David Popkins has busy days. He has a lot of pupils on the go, serving different needs to each one.
10th pitch to Valenzuela, and it's low ball 4. That's a walk that earned a bat flip. Valenzuela down to first.
Just a fantastic plate appearance there by Valenzuela at the bottom of the order, and to lay off that pitch. Very impressive.
Kyle Snyder going out to talk to Drew Rasmussen. George Springer about to see him a third time. You go back to 2023 in April in Toronto. That's a big home run from George Springer. He has seen Drew Rasmussen plenty. 15 at-bats against him coming into this game to make it 17 now. But that home run is one of only 2 hits he has off the tough right.
And I'm sure that's what this meeting is about right now. George's third time seeing him, and he stayed inside a lot on him tonight with the sinkers. Sanchez talking about different pitches right now, but I think George, you just wonder, is it because you've gone in with a few sinkers? Do you want to stay away this at bat? He did get him on the cutter to ground out last time, but it's about how he's been pitched so far, so therefore how do you want to go about it right now?
Arana at first playing in on the infield grass. I would be floored if George Springer squared to bunt right now, but maybe that's just an alignment thing regardless. I'm not sure since 2014 that's been an option for George Springer. They did go a little bit inside with that sinker first pitch. The 0-1. And quickly 0-2, sinker cutter. First 2 pitches from Rasmussen.
Well, he's much more of a pull hitter, so they're probably thinking anything to the right side might just be something cued off the end of his bat. Something somewhat unique.
Two-strike pitch. And it's hit well out to center field. Going back, Mullins onto the warning track. He'll make the grab. Tagging from second, Jimenez trying to advance to second, Valenzuela, and he's out. Jimenez into third, but the sac fly opportunity taken away as Valenzuela aggressively tries to get into second, and there are 2 down.
You just cannot get caught doing that, and I saw Valenzuela the whole time. As soon as Jimenez was going back to second, he quickly went back to first to tag up. But you can even leave the first base bag. If you see that the throw is on line, stop. Put on the brakes, go back to first base. You have to know your speed. George did his job by advancing that runner, and now they may have helped the Rays get out of this inning.
Need Pinyango to reach now, and he hits it up the middle into center field. Jimenez jogs home. They do get the run, and it's a Blue Jay lead again, 3-2. This guy just keeps raking.
We are going to have to find out where Pinyango is going for dinner tonight, because Brandon Valenzuela will be picking up the tab. He just picked up his teammate big time. What a great job by this young hitter. Just continuing to put the bat to the ball.
The cutter in has beat the Blue Jays so many times today. That was a cutter in off the plate, and it did not beat Pinyango. Chris Guccione thought about that pitch and then called it a strike. It's Pinyango's 4th major league RBI. He's in his 8th game. And he did go, says Nestor Ceja. Oh, 2 count with 2 outs and a runner on first. And that'll make it 1 ball and 2 strikes. Blue Jays with a 2-out run in this inning. A pair of hits have helped them take the lead back. 1-2 to Okamoto. Good take there on a fastball elevated.
That's what your catcher coach is for right there. Get over there, pat on the shoulder. Hey kid, we got lots still to do here in this ball game. Your job now is behind the plate.
Okamoto strikes out swinging, but the Blue Jays get a run on the Pinyango RBI base hit. 3-2, middle of the 5th. Time.
All right, Ben, here's the in-game tracker brought to you by Bet365. 6-5. 3-1 Texas at Yankee Stadium, but not anymore. Ryan McMahon lifts a 2-run shot to right. They are currently knotted at 3, top of the 3rd there. In Miami, here's Samuel Basallo with a base hit. Boy, he's having a year. That scores a pair. Ward and Alonso come in. The Orioles have lost 5 in a row, all of them by at least 5 runs. And right now, that's the score there in Miami. This is something. This is Trevor Story getting plunked because Valdez has given up 3 home runs to the Red Sox tonight, and that's the result right there. Boston 10, Detroit 2 at Comerica Park. They're in the bottom of the 4th. That's the in-game tracker brought to you by Bet365, home of the 5-run early payout. Download the app today.
Experience game day your way in the Outfield District. Your ticket unlocks general admission access to the ballpark and fan-favorite neighborhoods like the Corona Rooftop Patio and the WestJet Flight Deck. Grab tickets today at BlueJays.com/Outfield District. Blue Jays back in front off a Yohendrick Piñango RBI single. It's 3-2. And I think Valenzuela's pitch comm device is not working. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Joe Siddle. Hazel May down on the field. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Hazel was talking about it as well. Piñango continuing to, in a positive way, complicate things for the Blue Jays because the return of Addison Barger is imminent. It's about 99% either going to be tomorrow or Friday.
Just done an outstanding job at the plate, getting the barrel to the baseball. Great contact skills.
Speaking of contact skills, Chandler Simpson up.
Okamoto in at 3rd, expecting that bunt. You never know whether he's going to push it, take it with him toward 1st.
I'm assuming you've seen the movie Major League, Joe?
Yeah.
If I were Kevin Cash, I might make the Willie Mays Hayes rule for Simpson. If he puts it in the air, it's 10 push-ups on the spot. There's no point.
Well,
if he hits it on the ground, he's safe almost half the time, if not more.
And he hits a ton of ground balls for that reason.
It's a real throwback style that Cash had to defend a lot when he first came up.
For sure. Great contact skills, beat it in the ground. It's the old 80s St. Louis Cardinals baseball, right? 80s, what am I saying? You know the history of the game, though. I know that.
Yes. You backed me into a corner a bit there as Simpson swings and misses 2-2.
Ben's to my left here. He said, look at this old man, what he's talking about, the 80s Cardinals.
But it's, you know, it's not something that teams are maybe as prepared for as they would have been in the 80s.
Sure.
And so he catches a lot of teams not off guard. They know he's fast, but they're just not used to it. This one is lifted, foul left side, long run Okamoto, and it's just past him.
Well, the game has certainly changed over the last number of years, and we've seen more of the strikeouts and walks, the 3 true outcomes and home runs, and this is refreshing. And even with the Blue Jays offense last year, we talked about that a lot. Yes, there was the power, but was the complete offense, not striking out, put balls in play. It's an exciting brand of baseball when you can include all aspects of it.
Another 2-2. And it's hit back foul. Not only is it a throwback, it's a really extreme version of it. Simpson in spring training hit a homer over a fence, but in his professional career in regulation games has not hit a ball over a fence. He does have an inside the park home run career. And he hits this one into center field. He does it his way. And Chandler Simpson, who's really tough as well on the base paths, is on to lead off the inning.
He's at it again. On the ground, finds a hole, and let the fun begin for Simpson in the Rays, just causing havoc on the base paths for Gausman now.
He was on in the 3rd. He swiped his 12th bag of the season, and it seemed like he might have affected Gausman as well, because Gausman walked Caminero on 4 pitches the last time. Simpson has a 100 stolen base season in the minor leagues in 2024.
Everything has to be perfect to throw at a runner like Simpson. Gausman has to make sure he doesn't get a great jump. He's got to be a little bit quicker to the plate than he normally is. And then Valenzuela, as a catcher, you have to get a pitch that you can handle decently and put that throw on the money at second base. That's the pressure these guys put on you.
With Simpson on first base, Gausman has thrown 6 pitches to Caminero, all balls. The stuff, though, has ticked up a lot for Kevin Gausman. Now, he's not outside on a cooler day in Minnesota. He's inside, climate controlled in Florida, but still, that's a big jump.
Yeah, that's good. That's where you want to see him. And then still touching his 95, 96.
Into the right center field gap, racing over Sanchez to make the catch. Junior Caminero retired for the first time tonight. Could argue he's the toughest out in the lineup, so that's a big one for Gausman. Still with Simpson on first base.
Kevin will continue to do what he is trying to do here, holding that runner as best he can.
And if he can, he does have somewhat of a double play candidate up right now in Jonathan Aranda. Aranda with an RBI single in the third. They boo, but how could you not? He's just too fast.
You have to throw over.
That counts as the first disengagement because it's a new batter. And they'll try again. That's the second disengagement. It was after Gausman had stepped off twice that Simpson took off, not on the next pitch, but 2 pitches after in the third.
And now here's an interesting strategy. You've thrown over twice. If he's going to steal it, have him steal this pitch so you've still got the whole count against a good hitter to try to get around out.
Aranda lines out to Okamoto, who doubles off Simpson. What a play, and credit to the dig at first by Sosa as well. The speed comes back to hurt the Rays, and Gausman is through 5. Pounded off to his left. Simpson got aggressive, and the Blue Jays defense makes him pay. 3-2 Blue Jays going to the 6th in St. Pete.
TD, more human.
Jesus Sanchez leads off the 6th for the Blue Jays. I've been talking about him a lot recently, and you see this season the year-over-year changes. The bat speed has come down a little bit. The contact point, he's letting the ball travel a little bit more, and he's not pulling the ball near as much. And there's a good example right there as that ball beats him and gets deep, and he fouls it off the other way. Strikeout rate has gone down, but the biggest drop in Major League Baseball is that bat speed. And when you're not getting that bat head out front, if you're trying to be a bit more of a contact type hitter by keeping your hands in like that right there,
on the ground to Williamson, and there's one out.
You're not going to be able to slug the baseball. And I think this guy, the display we see him put on in batting practice sometimes, and I know batting practice doesn't matter compared to the game, but to see that path and the ball getting deep, if he could catch that ball out front a little bit more, and the way you do that is by getting things going early and thinking a little bit more damage. And I think that's a mentality, and I think this is the kind of guy that has the power potential in this lineup. I think that's part of the reason the Blue Jays acquired him. They saw the bat speed and the power, and I think too, you see throughout the course of this early part of the season, the numbers change. John Schneider made the comment the other day when I was asking about him. You see the batting average up the scoreboard, you see the batting average coming down a little bit, so you want to just get some hits and make contact. And I think he has the potential to do more damage, and we'll continue to follow that. But I'd like to see him catch a few balls up front.
Lenyn Sosa does just that and sends it down the left field line for a base hit. Sosa around first, still hang on there. Lenyn Sosa makes contact with pitches that other people can't. Not only makes contact, he drives pitches other people can't.
Well, we talked about him earlier, expanding the zone, but that's how he hits, and he gets to them. Really pulls the hands in here to get to this sinker from Rasmussen.
By the way, that's 80 plate appearances for Sosa now in the season, no walks. Entering tonight, second most plate appearances without a walk was Starling Marte at 35. Blue Jays now out hitting the Rays 7-6. Varsho had their second hit of the game in the second inning. And he will take a cutter. Sosa has not attempted to steal a base this season. 2-0 to Varsho. Line toward left, but it hangs up and is caught by Simpson. It's the second time today he's gone the other way with authority. Arguably hit this one too hard, Joe.
As a hitter, that is a beautiful thing, and unfortunately Dalton did not get the result, but you can't put a better swing on this pitch than that right there. He is in a really good spot. Unfortunately, you can't do much about that baseball when it leaves your bat.
Blue Jays have had some good at-bats, though. This is the most hits, 7 for the Blue Jays, the most hits that Rasmussen has given up in any start this year. Ernie Clement had a bunt hit, and then he flied out to deep left center field. He lifts one to left center, but shallow this time. Mullins is there, and that's the top of the 6th. Blue Jays still holding on to a one-run lead as we go to the bottom of the 6th at the Trop.
On Sportsnet.
Next Wednesday, one Blue Jays fan will be taking home a projected prize of more than $2 million. Grab tickets now at bluejays.com/50/50 from participating provinces. Kevin Gausman back out for the 6th inning. He'll go third time through against the middle of the Rays order. Yandy Diaz leading off with Jake Fraley and Ben Williamson to follow. Dangerous Diaz 0 for 2 despite 7 hits in 14 career at-bats against Kevin Gausman. And Gausman with a great fastball there. Not his hardest, but good location. Although his day could be wrapping up soon. Lefty Mason Fluharty warming up for the Blue Jays.
It looks like Gausman feels like he can get that fastball in on Diaz. He did it again right there. He jammed him on a ground ball to shorten his last at-bat.
Skips a slider, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That could be Kevin mixing in his slider, but making sure he doesn't get hurt by it. I'm okay with that. You don't want to get beat with that pitch. It's his 3rd best pitch.
1-2. Popped up. Very high to shallow left. Jimenez with a late adjustment. 1 out. Kevin Gausman at 88 pitches as Fluharty continues to warm. Left-handed hitter Jake Fraley up, but it looks more like Fluharty maybe is for the 3 lefties that hit 7, 8, 9 today in the Rays order. Gausman's pitch. Wave and a miss. Challenged Fraley right there with a 4-seam fastball at 95. Oh, 1. Another fastball over the heart at 96, 0-2. And the Rays pen is starting to go as well. Hunter Biggie and Cole Sulser. Blue Jays did see Sulser yesterday. Based on how they used their pen yesterday, perhaps it's a Sulser if they tie, Biggie if it remains this way. They used Sulser up in the game last night. Fraley, if you could tell by the look, of Viking descent. That's why the Cincinnati Reds a couple years ago wore the Viking helmet. You remember Joey Votto in one of those when they would hit home runs. And Fraley lifts this one to right field. Sanchez tracks back a little bit. 2 down.
Get game-changing internet and Canada's most reliable internet. Rogers Xfinity. We got you.
Kevin Gausman, one good pitch from getting through 6 innings. He will battle with Ben Williamson. I think Gausman can't hear through the pitch comm. Valenzuela making the signal so the Blue Jays hopefully don't have to burn one of their 2 mound visits remaining. The nail polish never caused a delay like this, Jim. Time, and if it chipped off your fingers, you just put some of that neon nail polish on again.
This doesn't take real long, but you wonder if maybe if they want to accentuate things a little bit or accelerate things a little bit, that, you know, if you have a little pitch count problem, use the fingers the rest of the inning.
Or maybe even for the at bat.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Because the pitch clock is longer in between batters, especially with no one on base.
Thinking even for the pitcher, just the delay, the breaking into the rhythm.
So now we're ready to go. Kevin Gausman trying to get through 6 innings. He'll take on Ben Williamson, who has a single and a fly out to left. A lot of 95, 96 from Gausman this inning as he's really unloading the tank.
Sensing that it could be his last inning. Painting the corners while he's at it.
Fastball to Williamson. Feels like you've set up the splitter here. But what do you think, Joe?
You know, I don't doubt that he could still come with another fastball at a different location, maybe elevate it. That's the thing with his 2 pitches, you can go to either one. It's not wrong. Elevate a fastball or split her down.
A lot of cat and mouse for Gausman against the hitters he faces. His 0-2. Tried to go to the splitter, but he skipped it in front of home.
He singled off his splitter in that last at bat. It was a pretty good swing, but he left it in the middle of the plate. They're making bullpen plans right now.
And he got him swinging. Gausman punches out Williamson on a splitter. His 3rd strikeout of the start. 6 innings, 2-run ball. Kevin Gausman has pitched the Blue Jays to the 7th with the lead. 3-2 at the Trop.
Or listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Are you a Rogers customer? Watch for Canada's winning inning. When the Blue Jays get ahead, you could win amazing prizes courtesy of Rogers Beyond the Sea. Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida, back after being out of commission in 2025, and it looks like that will be the start for Kevin Gausman. 6 innings of 2-run ball. He leaves with the Blue Jays in front in the 7th. Hasn't officially left, but we think so. We do know that Drew Rasmussen, the Rays starter, is out of the game. It's now Hunter Biggie.
Biggie has pitched in 9 games this season. His last time when he went 2 scoreless innings, his longest outing of the season. So as you alluded to earlier, that get more than 1 inning, that one got a piece of the catcher.
Yeah, and he was not likely expecting a 4-seam fastball in the dirt there. That got in the dirt at 97 miles an hour. And Tyler Heineman knows how that feels, and it's not good.
Try to get your glove to it just to deflect it away. Biggie's got 96, 97 in the tank with a slider and an occasional splitter. A lot of 4-seam fastballs and sliders.
Might be the smartest guy on the field. 12th rounder in 2019 out of Harvard.
Right.
By the Cubs.
That Syracuse guy in the booth, though.
The Harvard of upstate New York. It's actually, it was when they were double barrel in the pen. Sulcer from Dartmouth and Biggie from Harvard. That's pretty good.
It's a smart pen.
Now a slider to make it 2-2. Andres Jimenez 2 for 2 though tonight with a couple hits to center. It's good to see Biggie back. He got hit by a line drive 100 miles an hour, 105 actually, in the face last year when he was in the dugout. Multiple facial fractures, and he was out for the rest of the year, missed months. Pitch a little high, but
looked good.
Beducia doesn't think so. And yeah,
you can just tell the
maybe
way
it wasn't high.
The way he received that pitch, yes.
So that'll be an overturn on the first ABS challenge by the Tampa Bay Rays in this game. And
Tampa Bay has 2 remaining challenges.
Goes down on his slider. 2 challenges left for the Rays. It hasn't crept up yet, but the Blue Jays have not had any challenges since the 3rd. Hasn't made a big impact so far on this game. Valenzuela takes, and it's called a strike. Valenzuela has made it safely to first 2 times, although he's 0 for 1. A fielder's choice and a walk. Blue Jays getting ready for the bottom of the 7th, and Jeff Hoffman going in their bullpen. It's 7, 8, 9 in the Rays order coming up in their half of the 7th, and Valenzuela fooled by that slider. Piñango drove in the go-ahead run in this game. He's not on deck, but rather in the hole behind George Springer, who waits on deck. The 1-2. Close miss.
It's a tight slider. Almost acting more like a cut fastball. Just missing inside.
And that time he gets him at the knees. 2 strikeouts for Biggie, both looking. And there are 2 outs, revved it up to 98.
Everything's hard. Fastballs in the upper 90s, and that slider he was throwing was tough as well. Close to 90 miles per hour. And that one just froze Valenzuela.
Got him from the Cubs when they traded away Isaac Paredes. Springer lays off the slider. George Springer in his return, his first game since the 2nd, when he was once again hit on the foot, this time by a pitch rather than a foul off. Springer has been on base in 17 games in a row that he's played in. He's played 18 games this year, did not reach on opening day, and then has been on base every game since.
One more ball and he'll be on base. Biggie not happy with his first 3 pitches.
Is 3-0. Springer with the green light, fouls it back. He's not trying to walk to extend that on base streak. He wanted to let one go.
He thought he'd get a heater, and he did. Good swing at that fastball. Look at Lou Ionati right there, and Popkins. These are hitting coaches, and you know what they're thinking. They knew the green light was on, and they're looking at their hitter saying, yes, unleash it, big boy.
And that time Biggie gets him down to a knee with his slider. Somewhat gutsy pitch. He delivered it just below the zone on 3-1.
Pretty good off that fastball, though. You saw the hack that George took on the 3-0.
Payoff pitch. Check swing. They'll appeal. He did not go. And the top of the 7th continues. Springer also on for an 18th straight game. And this might be the guy you want up right now in this spot, Joe. He drove in the last Blue Jays run. He's as hot as anyone. Springer deked to steal on the first pitch, or didn't like his jump, and Piñango swings and misses. Maybe as hot as anyone not named Cosmo Okamoto. He's got about 5 homers in a week.
George dancing over there with that broken toe like he's going to try to steal a base. I can't see that happening.
John Schneider had said pre getting hit on the toe that he was available to do it. Now, Post getting hit on the toe, who knows? But he's shuffling again. Enough that he's gotten the attention of Hunter Biggie.
Sure has.
I mean, maybe it's all just for the attention of the pitcher, but he's bouncing around.
Distract him enough to leave a cookie for Pinyango.
High chopper, and Palacios throws to first. At the 7th inning stretch at the Trop, the Blue Jays leading 3-2. Jeff Hoffman is on next for Toronto.
Love, where will you be?
Welcome back. Cedric Mullins leading off for the Rays here in the 7th. Kevin Cash not too worried. Mullins is having a tough start to his Rays career offensively. He's an established major leaguer, and when he was with the Orioles, Cash recalls Mullins went through some tough times, eventually got hot again, and carried the team. Mullins has been a bit unlucky at times, but Cash made a point to say Mullins also has to create his own luck. Let's see what he does here. He's now 2 for his last 28. Guys?
Certainly going through it a little bit, Hazel, but you also understand the foundation Kevin Cash is falling back on, Joe, because Cedric Mullins had a lot of productive seasons with the Baltimore Orioles. Fantastic in 2021 when he was an All-Star and received top 10 MVP votes. And he's hurt the Blue Jays a lot. His 16 home runs against the Toronto Blue Jays are more home runs than he's hit against any other club in the majors.
We have seen a lot of Cedric Mullins. That was in an Orioles uniform, now 31 years old. And he's going to try to do what he can to get on base for his club here off the Blue Jays' new reliever, Jeff Hoffman.
They initially did give Mullins a hit last time, but changed that to a sacrifice and an error. And now Hoffman comes in for the bottom of the 7th. Bottom third of the Rays order, and the Blue Jays up 3-2.
Hoffman pitched twice in the Minnesota series. Pitched a scoreless inning in the second one. Gave up 1 in the first one, but a couple little ticky-tack knocks. And
Okamoto is playing in at third, as that fastball misses just high at 98 miles an hour. The 1-1. Dropped in a splitter. Four-seamer, sinker, splitter, and slider for Jeff Hoffman.
Mullins looking like that's not where he's expecting to see a splitter up in the zone like that. Not by design, but he got the take.
Wanted to go up with the fastball, missed outside. 99 from Hoffman, but not to the right spot. Pete Walker, John Schneider watching as Hoffman deals here in the bottom of the 7th. That splitter a little bit more in the spot you want. Hoffman a first rounder in 2014. Mullins a first rounder the year after. 2-2 pitch. And he got him swinging. 98 miles an hour down and away. 1 out in the inning as Hoffman comes in after Kevin Gausman's strong start today. Gausman ends up pitching to a quality start.
Yeah, just the 3 strikeouts, but 6 good innings by Kevin Gausman. The 2 runs, he has a lead for his team, and I think the good to see from Gausman, pitching with intent.
First pitch strike with a slider to Hunter Fiducia. Looked like a little more of a side-to-side slider than we usually see from Hoffman. Second time Fluharty is up today in the Blue Jay bullpen, including Fiducia up now. Next 3 batters are all lefties, 4 out of the next 5. On the ground up the middle and into right center. Produce your base hit. So 1 out, base hit. Joe, we were talking a little bit between innings. This frame, 3 left-handed hitters due up. They had Fluharty up at one point. They had Hoffman up at one point. It might feel like Fluharty's the natural pick there, but bottom third of the order, left-handed hitters, they probably would have pinch hit for those guys with righties if they brought Fluharty in.
Yeah, and even when you turn this lineup over, I think you want Hoffman for Caminero as opposed to the lefty Fluharty.
Johnny DeLuca just came in to run off on the first pitch, and he is there before the throw. It's an elevated fastball at 99, but DeLuca with his speed and jump got there before Valenzuela's throw. And now the tying run in scoring position.
Takes a peek just in case the ball's put in play to know where it is, and not even close. DeLuca coming off the bench with those good wheels.
So a base hit could tie this game. Hoffman to Palacios. Fastball for a strike. So you think Hoffman goes
To Caminero.
to Caminero?
I think so. Simpson's not a hitter that's going to hurt you power-wise, so you'll let Hoffman face him, and then the righty Caminero. We saw Fluharty come in last night in relief of Miles, and he faced the righty Taylor Walls, and he got him for a base hit. He's giving up some hits to right-handed hitters. Fluharty has.
The 1-2. Grounded foul. Good play by Sosa anyway, but it won't count.
Tough call either way when you've got that name Caminero in the 2-hole, no matter who you have out there facing him. Righty, lefty, doesn't matter.
One-two again. And this one is lifted out to left field in foul territory. Long run for Piñango. And he makes the play and gets it back in quickly to make sure DeLuca doesn't go anywhere. Piñango's been doing a lot of work on his defense. Mark Budzinski said that the routes and the jumps have been a huge focus for him. And he's made every play he's had to make so far in left field through 8 games.
That's a good heads-up play. You could hear his teammates yelling, tag, tag, tag. So he knew DeLuca was going back to tag. Secured the ball and got it in quickly.
Chandler Simpson with a couple of hits in this one. A base hit could tie this game. And he'll shoot the first one foul. It's one of the ultimate contact hitters in the game against one of the better swing and miss pitchers so far this season. Simpson batting against Hoffman. Pretty good pitch right there. 98 miles an hour, just barely on the edge.
Simpson is a singles hitter, so the infield is going to do everything they can to keep that ball in the infield if it's hit on the ground.
0-2 on the ground, but Clement has got it, and Jeff Hoffman pitches is scoreless, bottom of the 7th. Blue Jays leading 3-2 as we head toward the 8th inning. But first, time for an update with Jamie Campbell and Kevin Pillar.
Thank you, Ben. Home Hardware is proud to be the official home improvement retailer of the Toronto Blue Jays, locally owned, genuinely Canadian, and you admire the approach of many tonight, including Andres Jimenez. Why?
Well, runners in scoring position. We've been asking just for guys to have a good approach, and I believe he got this base hit as a good result. Right here, the first pitch cutter in he takes. He earns the right to be aggressive to a fastball. It's a cutter in, but then you could see that he kind of moves his approach out, gets a little bit beat by the fastball, but instead of trying to cheat to the fastball. He gets rewarded by staying with his approach, shoots that changeup up the middle, and right now it's the go-ahead run.
It is indeed. The Blue Jays are 2 for 5 with runners in scoring position. And note the start time on tomorrow's broadcast, 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 in the morning Pacific. A pair of left-handers are going. Corbin for the Blue Jays and McClanahan for the Rays. We're back to the Trop after this.
Kazuma Okamoto got the scoring started today when he clubbed his 10th home run of the season, going to the opposite field for this one. Oppo Taco for the guy who eats quesadillas for power. His 10th of the year and his 23rd RBI.
He really drove that baseball fastball for Rasmussen out there, and he just went right with it into the seats next to the Rays tank at right center.
Casey Legumina into the game, second day in a row that he pitches and tosses in a strike there to get ahead.
Gave up a few hits in his 2/3 of an inning last night. Okamoto did not face him, so it's his first look at him.
There was enough traffic given up by Legumina in the 9th that even though the Rays were up 5-1, they went to their closer Brian Baker. Hit sharply up the middle, and it will find a lane into center. Second hit tonight for Kazuma Okamoto.
Reacting like maybe he got jammed a little bit of a sidearm angle from Legumina on the mound. It's just a ground ball that had eyes of Okamoto with his second hit of the night, including that homer.
First pitch to Sanchez is lifted out to right center field. Mullins gets behind it and go back to first, Okamoto.
A little bit of a different looking swing that time from Sanchez, and that's what we were talking about earlier. Catch something out front on the upswing, just missing that pitch.
Well, it'll only be a partial day off for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. John Schneider is taking him off the Blue Jay bench. And that's going to draw Kyle Snyder, the pitching coach for the Rays, out to the mound. Guerrero getting the partial day off today, day off from starting. Hits for Lenin Sosa. As Blue Jays look for important insurance runs in this game. And the usual 8th inning specialist for the Blue Jays, Submariner Tyler Rogers, tossing.
Legumina uses his four-seam fastball, sweeper, and sinker to these righties for the most part, and we've seen the Rays try to pound Vladdy in with those fastballs. Let's see if he doesn't try to run that sinker inside from that low arm angle.
First pitch from Legumina.
Like that.
Right in there with a four-seamer that had run inside. Guerrero is looking for his first career pinch hit. Not something he does often. And a ground ball hit softly to the left side. Kaminara charges and throws to first in time. And there are 2 outs.
Saw Kaminara out here earlier today getting some work in around that third base bag, and these are the types of plays coming in hard, and he's got a very good arm. He's not afraid to show it off. Coming in making a nice play on that slow roller.
Dalton Varsho intentionally walked. The Rays will set up a right-on-right matchup. It's the second time Varsho has been intentionally walked this year. On the opening weekend, he was walked. Ernie Clement came up and walked off the Athletics as the next batter.
They like the right-on-right matchup, obviously, against Clement.
Ernie looking to drive one on the first pitch. It's a back foul.
Taking that platoon matchup against a very aggressive hitter. Legumina probably not going to try to throw anything near the middle of the plate.
Clement hits it high down the left field line. It's hooking, And it is foul, although it had more than enough on it to get out of the yard had it stayed fair.
The breaking pitch, he's looking for a fastball that he can pull, and that he feels it keeps him somewhat on time for the secondary pitches as well, just a little out front.
0-2. And a soft roller to third. Caminero slings, and that will do it for the top of the 8th. Leadoff hit for the Blue Jays, but they leave a pair on, and it's still a 3-2 lead with Tyler Rogers coming in next.
Possibilities for generations.
Get to the ballpark early on June 10th. The first 15,000 fans will receive a Dylan Cease bobblehead. Buy tickets now at bluejays.com/promotions. Dylan Cease and Shane Bieber hanging out deep into this ball game. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. And Cease will get the ball to start the Angels series coming up on Friday. But for now, the Blue Jays focused on trying to even up this series against the Rays. Lost last night, but they lead it 3-2 here tonight. And in the bottom of the 8th, Rogers sends one outside to Junior Caminero. Vladdy taking over at first base after he hit for Lenyn Sosa.
Tyler Rogers has not pitched since Friday in Minnesota, and that's when he pitched a scoreless 8th inning with a couple of strikeouts to set up that 7-3 victory.
Actually got up and threw last night, even in a situation it didn't seem like he would come into the game for. Caminero endangering his own bullpen, 1-2. Tyler Rogers, 16 1/3 innings pitched, 1 earned run. Is 1-2. Outside. On the ground. And 1 out as Clement throws to Guerrero. Tyler Rogers, even for Tyler Rogers, is getting a lot of guys to hit baseballs on the ground right now. It just seems impossible to get him in the air.
Lots of movement on those pitches. Sinkers are coming back down. Hitters are catching the top of the baseball, pounding it into the ground.
He's got a career 58% ground ball rate. This year 73, so he's up 15%. And he was already one of the more ground ball heavy pitchers in the game. Even the 1 earned run he did allow, or the 2 runs 1 earned he allowed, were on a bunch of choppers and bouncers around the mound.
And because of all of the contact, that can happen on occasion. You know, take your chances that it's not going to happen, but you have to live with it when it does.
Aranda with an RBI single in the 3rd. Line out double play his last time. Could end up being a big moment in this game. Blue Jays had just scored to make it 3-2. Chandler Simpson was on first with 1 out. Aranda smoked a liner that Okamoto caught, and then he spun around and doubled off the base runner. That gets through. It might be 1st and 3rd with 1 out. Instead it was inning over. And it's shot fair down the left field line. Aranda around first. He's digging for second. Piñango's throw skips in late. And it's a double for Jonathan Aranda, who sliced that one right down the line.
Well, some soft contact. This one not on the ground, but he just loops this down the left field line, and it lands almost right on the line. Not much you can do as a pitcher, but try to induce soft contact. Rogers did that. Landed just fair.
Aranda back into the dugout because Taylor Walls will come in to run for the Rays, who have used 3/4 of their bench now. Only Ryan Valade remains. Rays also ran last inning, bringing DeLuca out of their dugout. Yandy Diaz trying to knock in the tying runner, maybe do more. He'll take a strike. Second game back for Diaz since he felt some oblique tightness on Friday. He's 0 for 7 in his 2 games so far. Louis Varland is getting ready, and you do wonder if another batter reaches, if they think about asking him for more than a 1-inning save, maybe a 4 or 5 out save.
With the traffic out there, you just can't even afford contact, and that's what you want, that swing and miss from Varland.
On the ground and off the glove of Clement into center. Around third base and in to score Walls. And Yandy Diaz, with his first hit since returning, ties the game at 3 in the 8th.
Ernie Clement doing everything that he could to try to get to that ball, just to knock it down, try to keep it in the infield. Diaz does a great job with this sinker, staying inside that with his hands and just guiding it up the middle, just past Clement.
Second time that the Rays have come back to tie the game after a Blue Jay lead. Still only 1 out, and a lob over to first. Oh, 1 from Rogers. Looked like that probably got the zone, but the Blue Jays ran out of challenges in the 3rd inning. Rogers now at 17 pitches. Varland continuing to throw down the left field line. Line drive down in left center field. Speeding to second base, Diaz. Varsho throws back to the bag, and Guerrero's going to slide to back it up and knock it down, making sure Diaz doesn't go anywhere. Valenzuela was there as well. The bigger problem for the Blue Jays, 2 on here with 1 out. And the Rays have the go-ahead run in scoring position.
Looked like a little bit of a jam shot again, too, or maybe even off the end of the bat. So the ball's not hit hard this inning, but there's 1 run in, and there are 2 runners on base as a result.
Valenzuela out to talk to Rogers. Varland's not throwing with great pace anymore. Looks like he is ready whenever they need him.
1 pitch away from getting out of the inning with a ground ball double play, right? But easier said than done.
Ben Williamson to hit, first and second, 1 out. And the pitch. After the ground out of Caminero, 3 hits in a row for the Rays to tie this game and now threaten to take the lead. Big extreme shift to the opposite field. Mark Budzinski just came out of the Blue Jays dugout to do that. Tyler Rogers actually had Yandy Diaz going the wrong way there on an inside move, but it was more for show. There was not an infielder covering for him to throw to. Ledzinski was out in front of the dugout fence, waving his arms to shift the outfielders as Rogers gets back in the count. Why do you think they go so far to the opposite way when Rogers, who doesn't throw very hard, you associate that with pull?
Yeah, clearly they think that he's going to, the ball's in the air.
Ground ball up the middle into center field. Diaz around third. He'll score, and the Rays take the lead. Four hits in a row for Tampa Bay. Ben Williamson giving the Rays their first lead of the night. It comes with one out in the bottom of the 8th inning.
This is exactly what we came to expect coming into this series with this Rays offense. We talked so much about their pitching, how it's going to be tough to score runs, but this offense just seems to be relentless. It's just a contact-oriented offense, not a lot of power, just keep putting balls in play, and that's been the definition of this inning against Tyler Rogers. A lot of soft contact.
Louis Varland into the game, but the Rays already leading. It's 4-3, bottom of the 8th.
Mortal Kombat 2.
You're watching Rogers Blue Jays baseball on Sportsnet. Louis Varland in for the Blue Jays, but not a safe situation. They're trailing now, 2 runs in this inning. And the pitch to Mullins is lifted foul, 0-1.
Trying to end this 8th inning and just keep it a 1-run ball game and give this offense a chance. Some tough luck from Tyler Rogers. Only behind a couple of hitters, though, and just balls found holes.
0-1. And a great pick there by Valenzuela. That was not an easy one. Basically caught it behind the body of Mullins.
That'd have been the only way to go after that, just to try to pick it cleanly, and he did. Way over in the left-handed batter's box.
The 1-1. Better breaking ball there. Hit foul, 1-2. Hits by Aranda, Diaz, Fraley, and Williamson. 4 in a row to score a pair of runs to give the Rays their first lead of the night. And that tipped off the bat, strike 3.
I don't know if Valenzuela was thinking about a block or if he was losing his balance back there, but as he caught this, he's getting down to the seat of his pants. But he knew it was tipped.
I think he fell back.
That's taking one knee catch to the next level.
Seriously. Johnny DeLuca hitting 2 on, 2 out. And a delayed strike call there, 0-1. Did hit the zone. Just buffered for a moment. First time at the plate for DeLuca, who came in a run last inning. Varland on the attack. 5 strikes and 6 pitches, and he's looking to put away DeLuca and send this one to the 9th. 0-2. Tap back toward the hill. And the 9th inning coming up. The Rays score a pair to take the lead, and the Blue Jays will need one to keep this game going. We'll be back in a couple of moments from Tropicana Field.
Hey, it's Ken Faisal. We have Sportsnet Central presented by KFC coming up after the game. Faze, did anything shocking happen tonight?
Do you like draft lotteries?
And chaos, yes.
Yes, chaos in the draft lottery.
Yes.
Can Toronto Maple Leafs get the first overall pick? We will fully break down everything that went down with the ping pong balls.
When the ping pong ball came up, and I think it said 12, you could hear the Stone Cold Steve Austin theme.
We'll also break down the baseball. Jay's trying to come back now in this one in the 9th. See you soon.
Blue Jays trail it 4-3. Hits by Jake Fraley and Ben Williamson in the bottom of the 8th inning gave the Rays their first lead. Cole Sulser is now into the game for the Tampa Bay Rays. He'll take over in a save opportunity. The Blue Jays made the Rays use Brian Baker yesterday, getting traffic in the ninth. Baker's gone 2 in a row, so Sulser looks for his second save of the season.
Sulser with 1 save, 16 in his career. He's been around for 8 seasons, 5 different teams.
Had a good handful of saves for the Orioles in the early 2020s. And now Jimenez hits it off the fist. Wall's waiting on it, the shortstop, and his throw to first is in time. So 1 out in this 9th inning. Game that the Blue Jays led from the 2nd to the 4th, and then again took the lead in the 5th until the 8th. So it feels like they've almost led the whole way, and yet right at the end here, now they're having to try to come back, and they'll go to Miles Straw off their bench, hitting for Valenzuela. .36-year-old Sulser saved a game on the 28th. It was his first save since 2022 when he did that. That pitch up and in, and no swing on appeal, says Nestor Sejan.
A lot of fastball changeups from Sulser to righties. Odd cutter.
Straw in the air, shallow center, racing forward Mullins, and back out there Ben Williamson, who just moved to second base from short. Nice play by him, and the Blue Jays are down to their last chance. George Springer coming up, but a nice play here from Williamson.
Not sure Mullins was getting there, so he did a good job backing up. Well, maybe Mullins thinks he was getting there by the look on his face.
Springer trying to keep this one going for the Blue Jays. His 2 home runs this year both came in March. Springer walked his last time. 1-1 pitch, check swing, appeal to first. He did not go, and now Fiducia, or pardon me, Fortes would like to use a challenge. Look close to the top, but it was not at the top of the zone.
It is a ball. Tampa Bay has 1 remaining challenge.
You have 2 challenges. There's 2 outs in the top of the 9th, though. You may as well
take your shot. Absolutely. That's why you want them late in the game.
Sulser's pitch. And the Blue Jays down to their final strike.
They've been sitting on that changeup. George let that fastball go.
2-2. And we'll go to a full count. Yohendrick Pinango would hit next if Springer can keep this game going. Payoff pitch. Lifted down the right field line. Fraley over, and it's foul.
Fastball that time by George. It looked like it beat him, but he's battling with 2 strikes right now, trying to make sure he's covering that changeup as well.
Line drive caught at third, and the Rays trail most of the game, but come back late. And they've already secured this series with their second win in a row to start it. 4-3 the final.
Well, the Blue Jays have had some tough losses this season, but this has to be one of the tougher ones. When you've got Tyler Rogers and Louis Varland coming out of the bullpen for the 8th and 9th with a lead, they have been so darn good. But some balls found holes on Rogers, and the Blue Jays let one slip away.
Blue Jays lose 4-3. They will try to salvage the series tomorrow with Patrick Corbin taking on Shane McClanahan. That will do it tonight for Hazel May, Joe Siddle, and our fantastic crew. I'm Ben Schulman. Have a great rest of your evening, and stick around. Time now for Sportsnet Central, presented by KFC with Ken and Faisal.
It comes down to one bouncing ball. Who gets the first pick of the draft?
Draw. 12. First pick in this June's draft. They win the lottery. What a 24 hours in Leafs land. This is Sportsnet Central presented by KFC. Ken and Faisal. Hey. That was nuts, and that wasn't good either. Soft contact, man, it can work.
Yeah, look, the ping pong balls may have gone the way of a Toronto team. The baseballs, again, not going Toronto's baseball team's way, the Blue Jays' way in that case. The Trop, right? That in itself, another day. For more on another loss by the Jays at the Trop, Jamie Campbell, Kevin Pillar in the Home Hardware Studio. Something about that place.
And Faisal, as much as we love this game, the thing about baseball is at some point, someone's going to have a bad outing. And in the case of Mr. Rogers, who, by the way, made his 17th appearance tonight, it's only the second time he's allowed an earned run, in this case 2. I guess it was bound to happen at some point, yes?
Yeah, I mean, no one's perfect. He's bound to give up some runs, but we talk about a bad outing. We're talking about 4 or 5 soft contact balls put in play right here, and that's what makes him so unique is his ability to get soft contact. This is a great pitch right here, but Aranda's just a tremendous hitter. That ball is about a foot away from being foul. You get a double right there. Yandy Diaz, this is probably the only ball that was hit decently, and I wouldn't say that was a ball that was hit really well. It was placed really well. He's just been so good, but you just think about the game in the whole. You know, you get the home run by Okamoto in the first inning. Gausman goes 6. Hoffman's kind of been that mystery guy right there, but you really like him in the 7th inning. It lines up perfectly to have Rogers pitching. The guy's given up 1 earned run in 17 innings this year. You know, sometimes the ball just doesn't bounce your way.
And sometimes good players get days off, and that was the case for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He was supposed to sit, and I guess if the manager had his way, for the entirety of the game. But the manager also decided, we need Guerrero in there. 8th inning, runner on first, in a situation that you called an odd decision. Why so?
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of an odd spot for him to kind of pinch hit right there. They talked about, you know, playing the 13 games in a row, wanting to get him off his feet, giving him a mental break, but using him if necessary. And I just didn't see that as a very necessary time to have him hit. With a runner at first base, you know, 8th inning, 1 out, with a 1-run lead, doesn't really scream like we really need Vladdy to do something here. Yes, if he goes up and hits a 2-run homer, I'm probably sitting here celebrating it.
Yes.
But you always have to prepare for worst case scenario, and worst case scenario showed itself. They got behind, you know, the bottom of the order came up. Valenzuela's turn came back up in the order again in the 9th inning.
And it was Miles Straw.
And who would you have rather had up? Would you rather had Vladimir Guerrero up, or would you rather have had Miles Straw? And then on top of it, George Springer's turn was coming around too. The fact that you burned Vladdy, the only person you had left on the bench, if George Springer was able to get on to extend the 9th inning right there, is your backup catcher.
Right.
A guy who's has a toe injury, has able to run. And that's what makes managing such a tough decision. It's way easier for me to sit here and think about those things, but you know, just from a former player's perspective, someone that played a lot in his career and was an everyday guy, when I was given those days off, which were very rare, you want it to be used in just kind of those emergency situations or game-changing situations. And I just didn't feel like that situation, the 8th, was a game-changing situation.
Perhaps you have a future as a manager too. We'll see. I mean, you think like one.
The 8U Astro team that I manage, you know,
Okay.
That's a handful.
Well, you have to start somewhere. And here is the time for tomorrow's broadcast. Blue Jay Central at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 in the morning Pacific time. Patrick Corbin, the lefty for the Blue Jays. Lefty Shane McClanahan, who's awfully good for the Rays, as the Blue Jays are hoping, Faisal and Ken, not to get swept.
Kev, stay on TV, way less stress, buddy. Well, the old injury update. We're going to focus in on Jose Brios before tonight's game. John Schneider talking Brios. Now, Brios has been rehabbing with AAA Buffalo. Looked like he was set to return to the Jays. Not so fast.
Jose's going to go get an MRI tonight on his elbow here, probably around game time. But just in talking to him, I think, with his last couple outings not really being where he wanted to be, results are results, but I think just physically he was a little bit more sore after his last outing. And going forward.
All right, NHL draft lottery night. All eyes on
and we'll start trading some guys away.
This is something I've thought about anyways for a couple of years, but it's time for me to do that.
It's throw at them. Sam Carrick has not.
I thought he didn't play. That's all Tampa did tonight. They take up Jays 4-3. John Schneider coming up.
We're identical.
The Jays drop game 2 to the Rays, 4-3 the final. They're 16-20 on the season, Ken, which was their record exactly a season ago at this point. In fact, the low point for the Jays was 16-20. They went on to win 4 in a row, never really looked back, and
they got
run away from the World Series.
So can they go on and run again after hitting 16-20 this year? You'd think no, but nobody thought last year was going to happen. I'm so optimistic, Faze.
Optimistic Osmac in taking her spot tonight.
He's rubbing off on me. Here's John Schneider.
You don't want it to, I think, this part of the season, guys are accustomed to having it, right? And there's some close pitches. It's a weird sequence where I think you see, Valley sees a ball that is a strike called a ball, and then you can probably, broaden your sights a little bit on things that are, and there were some really, really close pitches. And I think with where we are in the game, those pitches are called balls, and I think for the majority of these guys' careers, they're usually strikes. So that's kind of an adjustment period for everyone, really. But it's not why we lost today, for sure. And I think you take your chances with a guy like Kevin on the mound.
Speaking of Kevin, what did you think of his performance?
I thought he was really good. Split was better. Velo was better, and when he has that, he's usually pretty good. He worked out of the traffic, bases loaded, nobody out. That's probably almost best possible outcome with letting up 1 run there. Weird inning, with the bunt. You have a chance to pick off a runner at second that's just close. That probably changes the inning a little bit. And but I thought overall Kev was really good. Without the couple taxing innings early, maybe he goes another one. But like the way it's set up with Hoff and Raj and Louis, if needed. So they found some holes in the 8th inning, but I thought overall Kev was really good.
Offensively, Okamoto hit the 10th home run, otherwise a little quiet for you guys.
Yeah.
What do you make of the offense there?
Yeah, I think it's nice to get out to a 2-run lead against a starter like that in Rasmussen, right? Great swing from Kaz. That's about as pure as they get, opposite field. And you kind of, you chip away, you add on, and then, you take the lead back with Pena. You feel pretty good. You want to keep adding on. I think when you get the starter out, you want to keep adding on. And we just didn't have the ability to do that today, And I think when you're kind of going through this like we are right now, it gets... guys want to do a little bit more. You want to, you feel like you have to string a couple hits together, and you got to keep the line moving a little bit, and that's on me to figure out with these guys. Are we pressing? Are we trying to do too much? Whatever it is, it's on me and the staff to kind of just say, okay, let's settle it down a little bit and continue to do what you're good at. But I thought you have to give credit to a good pitching staff for sure. But at the same time, I think there were some chances to add on against Rasmussen and against their bullpen. Yeah, I think so. Found holes. It's a fist job double for Miranda. He's a really good hitter, and then he got his ground balls. It's we saw it in Milwaukee with Tyler to the extreme, really, where you can get some bad batted ball luck, and that was kind of the case today against some guys that made contact. And a lot of times it seems like those balls go right at people, and when you're playing here or when you're going through it a little bit, it seems like those balls are just out of reach. So he did what he normally does, and they found some holes.
All right, a lot of holes between the goalie's legs in Game 1 between the Avs and the Wild. A little better. It's 3-1 Colorado right now in Game 2.
Let's watch some hockey. Harnrain Singh, Ludabras, Sean.
Yeah, great job to keep it to the outside. Elects to just fire it back in as now both teams will start a change. Both Colorado and Minnesota are two of just 3 teams averaging over 4 goals per game in these playoffs. The Wild looking to try to get back into this one. 2-goal deficit staring them ahead here with time.
Few little mishaps we've seen. Quinn.
Stanley Cup playoffs.
Look at him here trying to get open off a face-off play. Really smart play. Look at this little...
we know if we play good defense, we have good enough players that we're going to create some chances offensively, and so we do.
Eligible customers can claim up to $5,000.
The Stanley Cup playoffs on Sportsnet for...
To Denver, where Minnesota has some work to do, down 3-1.
Similar to what they've done all year long. Go to work, and the big line for them right now loaded up. The third line, which is 3 big guys. Into the zone, McCarron pass over. Tarasenko denied.